out to give some kind of incentive to keep them to stay here. We got to do something.
In all honesty though, $2,000 after taxes,
It's not much.
they're gonna get $100 a month. They're not staying for that. They're just not. And people aren't gonna come here for it.
Right.
I do have a question, Linda, maybe you can help me on this one. The general fund, why is the police department and the building department the only two departments in the general fund?
That's not true. Administration is in there, the maintenance shed, parks, police, municipal court, animal control. I'm sure I'm missing something. Safety. I mean, there's all kinds.
Sorry, do we have animal control?
Pardon me?
Do we have animal control?
Yes.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
Yes, we do.
I'm sorry.
Okay, let's kind of keep it focused to the department heads and the alderman here. There are animal control. We do have a dog pound. All those dollars come out of general revenue. So, I'm sorry.
I said there isn't a lot of money in that fund, in that department, but there's money allotted.
And you were just naming all the things that get paid out of the general revenue
Yes,
fund.
and debt
Yes.
service, I mean, I guess I can get my book out and read it to you, but, do you have further questions on that?
My next question is, what dictates,
Can you speak up, Dennis? Steve?
what dictates what money goes into the general fund?
I guess monies that don't belong in another fund. I mean, the general fund is like the government services part of the budget. We have other money, I mean, the money that comes in from sales tax and other sources is meant for general use. There's dedicated taxes for the street fund. Water and sewer is funded by user fees, sanitation user fees. Capital improvements is for capital improvements. So basically, the general fund is for any kind of thing that does not fit in those other categories.
And how much is sitting in general fund?
It's a little over $5 million.
Okay, then a report that we just received on our last thing basically showed that we had 19 million and some change that June 30th / July 1st of last year,
Okay.
and it went up more than that 19 million for the end of January of this year.
Okay.
So we're gaining or are we losing? How is that? How does it show that we got more money than we had June 30th of last year? And we're 7 months into the year.
That, but yes, we probably have gained some money. It just depends on how it's spent. I have to look at that.
When we got our budgets, last year we were supposed to have $14 million in the bank. We had $19 million in the bank. Or no, we were supposed to have $11 million last year and we wound up with 19. If this year we're supposed to have 14 at the end, so we're just constantly moving up, but the money's not there. I'm a little bit confused.
Well, I guess.
Because when you look at our budget that we get every year, that little book,
Yeah.
it states how much money's in the bank.
A budget is one thing, and then the money in the bank is another. I mean, hopefully, at the end, that's what we'll have now. If we get more money than we think we'll get, and we spend less money than we think we'll get, then yes, we're going to gain money in the bank, and vice versa. But I don't understand your point, because the total really isn't the important part. The part that you should focus on is the individual funds. Obviously, we're not going to pay police with water revenues. We're not going to pay police with sewer revenues. Or street transportation revenues. It's going to come out of the general fund, and I think that's the one you need to focus on. Because you're looking at police rates.
Why is any money that's acquired through citations issued by our police department put into the general fund? Why is that
Because
put
the
in?
police are funded by the general fund, so the money goes into the general fund.
I had asked that last year, if you remember at budget workshop. I asked for their citations to go into a separate account so that they could actually get credit for that, like the water bills, and I was told absolutely not.
Did I say absolutely not? I don't know, I guess.
I don't think so.
I mean, that would be one way of putting money back into the police fund after the court costs and stuff are paid out of the fine too. Just an idea, you know, to help with the payroll. I'm not asking our officers to go out and write a whole bunch more tickets or anything like that. Just seems odd to me that that money goes into the general fund that would be spent on anything that the general fund refers to.
Is there a way to look at, I mean, separating the police pay from this regular city employees' pay? I mean, like have their own pay chart, their own.
You want them separated from the rest of city employees?
Yes.
As far as how we, the police are paid out of.
Right, but I'm saying like their own, separate from from the rest of the city employees for like their, you know, their officers, the sergeants, you know, and so on, detectives, like their own, kind of like the military, how you have your own pay enlisted and non-commissioned officers.
Yes, they do. According to the Evergreen study, everyone was given a grade step depending on their rank, their job description. So,
Right.
yeah.
But I mean, like
The problem
totally
with
separate.
it is we did not follow that study.
I guess I'm not understanding your question.
Just a separate pay scale for the police department, you know, totally separate than the city. I mean, because with, you know, you have everybody
You're
in one.
the pay study that you all did, okay, and job titles and job descriptions as well as the pay bands. A police officer is a different grade and step band than, let's say, what Tanya that's what Tanya is, okay? And so that's how you have them segregated out. It's not that you have to have
Separate to
police versus public works versus administration, and that it's all done by the job description, because all of the city employees are city employees.
Yeah, you can break it out by department if you want and see where the job classifications land in the comp study. Your placement on the overall compensation study is based on your responsibility level. And like you said, so for a police officer, that's going to be different than the finance director who handles the finances for the entire city. You can break it out that way if you like. They do have their own, we do have it by department category. You can look at it that way if you want, but it is possible for positions, two different positions, to have the same grade, if you will, the same responsibility level.
I would just like to address the board for a few moments, and I asked the major, and he's okay with it. In this room, about the only person that's been here longer than me is the chief. I'm pushing 28 years, and I think you're pushing 30 or 32. Back when I started, I don't know about Jeff, but I made $12.25 an hour. Then we went up to, I think it was $12.60. And then as years rolled by, everybody started talking where we're discussing now about responsibilities and positions. So that led to December 20th of 2004, which we had a pay study done. And that pay study said fair market value, your employees should be paid according to this on their positions and their years of experience. Every employee was told that the city could not afford it. So we got a reduced rate. Well, then we went on, we bit the bullet and carried on. Then around 2008, 2009, the economy crashed. We went approximately 5 years without a raise. Then we got like a 3% raise. Then we went like another year or two before we got another raise. 2, was it 2? So 7 years total. Then the discussion started coming back around that we would have another pay study to see where we're sitting at. we had Evergreen. Evergreen come in unbiased, said fair market value step program, this is what your employees should be paid based on their positions and experience. And Rachel, I can remember you bringing it up in the workshop that you wanted to go that route, you got shot down.
The midpoint, because that's what they said. In order to be competitive, you have to be at the midpoint.
I'm looking at the step grade point.
Story of my life.
Huh?
Story of my life getting shot down.
Oh, you messed me up.
Sorry, Dave.
This is my opinion. Y'all ain't gonna agree with it. I'm probably gonna take some flack. But the only other department head that you have working for the city other than the chief and the major, me, I was in law enforcement for almost 13 years. Lincoln County Sheriff's Department, and then I worked here at Troy PD. And then they wanted to cut that construction background. Then I switched. I understand where they're coming from. I've been out there, had to go home and clean my shards out. Had to have some counseling. I get that. It's changed a lot since I've been on the street. I don't blame anybody for asking a raise. But in a nutshell, with these two pay studies, for 19 years, the city employees have been underpaid from fair market value. Everybody across the board. And we've been told every time we can't afford it. If you would have got some more rolling authority behind you at the workshop, we would have done the Evergreen pay study as it's meant to be. Odds are we wouldn't be here because the salaries would be a lot higher across the board, depending on positions and years of experience. Any questions of me? Have I really ticked you off?
No, I appreciate your service to the city for as long as you've been here.
I'm just trying to be honest. My job being honest kind of pisses people off.
You're always honest.
Now, that study, we had different tiers to choose from, too, so which one are you referring to?
I'm referring to the fair market value.
Which I believe was the midpoint.
It was the midpoint.
See, I get confused.
It was.
Yes, the midpoint.
Okay, then I'll go on you all. But I remember being told that we couldn't afford it, so we gotta take a hit on the chin and deal with it.
In Evergreen, again, the comp study, they presented several options. Their task at hand, when we went to them, was you all had passed a 10% increase. When we went to them, we explained to them, we have budget situations. They were trying to present you with options within the budget. That was the assignment. So you all could have chosen the moon if you wanted to. They would have gotten you as high as, right where you wanted to be, competitive with whomever you wanted to be. The numbers were there. But their assignment was to find something within your range. So they presented you those three options. And you could get to the midpoint, as aggressively as you wanted to, or as slowly as you needed to for budget purposes. And like Dave said, that was the understanding. And when you all had your budget workshop, you talked about it and decided where you could be.
And that was fair market value. And I do want to point out one more thing, and I'm going to release it to the major. Back in 2004, the city paid $17,716 to get unbiased opinion. On Evergreen, we spent $28,500 to get an unbiased opinion. So for the last 19 years, the city taxpayers have paid $46,216 to get an unbiased, honest answer on salaries. And we don't go according to our pay studies. So other than that, I'm going to sit down and hope I'm employed tomorrow.
I think that's probably what's disappointing mostly on all of this, is that had we done what we should have done, we wouldn't be where we are.
I agree with you.
I have been told by several people that had left for higher pay that the Band-Aids weren't put on so many times.
Yeah.
And they had gone with the pay study to get us to the midpoint. Out of all those guys that left in the last year and a half, a year, 4 of those guys said definitely they wouldn't have left.
Yeah.
Because it was a good place to work. The other guys, they just couldn't pass it up. They were ready to pay for so much. And we can't pay what they pay. We understand that. But we as a city need to be somewhat competitive to keep these people and to attract people. It has to tell you what, I said this last Thursday, look at the people that we've hired and mentored into being great officers, doggone good officers. They didn't go to little bitty departments, they went to big, huge departments, and they're thriving there also. So it tells you what kind of program we have here, and we've had here for the last, 25 years. We produce good officers, and no one left here. We're not doing anything different now than we have in the past. We're growing more, we're getting more developed in the department, we're getting more of the equipment these guys need. Everything, we're still running the same kind of business, but it's all about taking care of their family. And I can't blame these guys for leaving. Did I want to lose any of them? No. And they all know that. I told them, I don't want to lose you, but I understand why you're doing it. You're doing it for your family, you're doing it for the right reason. We didn't get into this job to get rich, but you got to make a living. And these guys